Thabo Bester and Dr. Magudumane couple.
These are the mafia couples.
Hello everybody.
Hello everybody. Thank you for joining us today.
Exactly. Today we are going to be talking about money in relationships.
Yes, we will go deeper as we look at how money affects the relationship between a husband and a wife.
We'll actually look at couples inside the Bible and how these couples related to money and learn from them. Some couples will present good examples that we should emulate, whereas other couples will present examples that are not so good, but that will still show us how not to relate with one another and with money.
The first couple that we are going to look at today is Samson and Delilah.
Samson is the strongest person who has ever lived, and he was an Israelite. He fell in love with a Philistine called Delilah, and they had a relationship. At that stage, the Israelites and the Philistines were in war. Samson was a one-man army. Samson could just destroy armies of the Philistines alone, single-handedly. Something like the Rock. One-man army who could just get the job done. And of course, the Philistines were concerned about him, and they plotted to find ways of getting rid of Samson. And they were excited to realize that Delilah, one of their own, was in a relationship with Samson. So they came and they promised her lots of money if she could deliver Samson to them.
As you can see from the story, as my husband explained, we see that Samson and Delilah were happy in their relationship until money was introduced. Money is one of the biggest causes of divorce in marriages today.
Some stats estimate that anything from 25 to 50% of all divorces is because of challenges related to money. Sometimes the introduction of money into a relationship, just like with Samson and Delilah, just kills the relationship dead. Sometimes you have a situation like this, which happens a lot. A couple will come together, get married, are happy in their relationship, then they decide that they will send the wife to school so that she can get educated and so that they can get better prospects of employment. Then they will strive maybe for 3 or 4 years being happily married. Then the wife gets a degree and she gets a high paying job, and then it is time for her to help the family. But unfortunately, the introduction of more money into that relationship, instead of it helping the family, it tends to hinder the family. You then have issues related to that, and it may lead to divorces. Sometimes also a husband gets a big promotion at work and he starts earning the big bucks. Now that he can afford the most expensive cars, he now runs around having many girlfriends, and they just run around with women, and it's a problem. So the introduction of money in that instance causes the marriage to have problems.
On the other hand, we can find that the absence of money also bring other problems that can lead to divorce. People can get stressed, frustrated, and start fighting, and that tension in the home can lead to divorce, all because of lack of money. So the introduction of money in a marriage can lead to divorce if not managed well. And also, on the other hand, the lack of money when one of the partners is being retrenched, if that is not managed well, it can also lead to divorce. So money exposes the matters of the heart. It exposes what the real person is. So when you have too much money, we can see who you really are. When you don't have money, you also can see who you really are. It's a big test of life. It exposes the matters of the heart.
Exactly, which reminds us of King Solomon once again, wherein he said that, God, please help me not to have too much money or too little money, just enough money so that I can be okay.
The second couple from the Bible that we're going to look at is King Ahab and Queen Jezebel.
Exactly. King Ahab was a king in Israel, and one day he was looking at his vineyard, but he also noticed his neighbor's vineyard. Then he wanted to buy his neighbor's vineyard so that he could have a bigger farm, so that he could produce more money. He spoke to his neighbor, whose name was Naboth, and he said, Naboth, please sell me your farm. Naboth refused and said, no, I'll never sell this farm of mine. It's a family heritage, family legacy. Doesn't matter how much you offer me. As a result, King Ahab was very disappointed. So he went home and he was very sad. At night, he spent some time with Queen Jezebel. And Queen Jezebel was surprised at what's going on. I mean, the man is not responding. There seems to be some load shedding. There seems to be nothing happening. I'm trying all the first aid kit to resurrect the man. The man is just down.
And
it's true.
Why is that in the Bible?
It's you don't know the story of King Ahab and Jezebel.
But the way you're saying it.
No, but it's true. It's true. You know, it's in the Bible. The story is there in the Bible.
She saw her. She saw him sad.
Exactly. I mean, like, why did other people not see him sad? So she's the one who could understand what was happening. So she realized that there's a problem here that other people could not detect, but the wife could detect the problem. So it's
why are you talking about load shedding?
Because I mean, she was wondering what's up. Why can't you get it up? No, it's true. I mean, like, the Bible says that the woman detected the problem. And it's true, because the thing about it is that problems in the boardroom lead to problems in the bedroom. You know, so in King Ahab's situation, you know, he had problems, you know, in the boardroom, in the financial realm, you know, and they could be picked up by the wife. Mm-hmm. So why were they picked up by the wife? Because the wife knows how the man's supposed to happen. You know, so the man used to be a tiger, now he's a slap tiger.
Oh.
All because of financial problems. But it's true. Look, it's true. Well, you must read the story in the Bible. It's a story about King Ahab and Queen Jezebel in the book of Kings, and it does explain the challenges that were there. But it's true, we also know today that, you know, many men attach their egos into their careers. So as soon as a person gets retrenched or something like that, it's problematic because they see themselves in their careers. You ask them, who are you? What are you about? People tell you in terms of their jobs, you know, their careers, their positions, their title. You know, I'm CEO, I'm a director, I'm chairperson of the board, or something big like that. As soon as the job is over, the person gets retrenched, then it's problematic. You know, the person no longer knows who they are. You know, they lose who they are, they lose the sense of their ego, and it's problematic. So when it comes to careers and finances, most men have issues because they associate themselves with that, whereas with women it's slightly different.
That is very true. Women are affected more by relationships because women are relational. So if a relationship fails, it can affect a woman more. But if they lose a job, they can still find plan B, still bounce back. But when it's a divorce where somebody left them, it leaves them with that wound that, what have I done? What is it that I don't have? Why? They have lots of questions that they don't have answers to. So women attach their ego to their marriage. One moment you are Miss X, then you get married and you become Mrs. Y, and all your life is built around Mr. Y supporting and building your home and building your family. And once that crumbles, it affects you. You lose your identity because everything you are and what you stand for and how you see yourself was built around family, your marriage.
Problems in the bedroom lead to problems in the boardroom.
As a result, women can still be retrenched, they can still retain their self-worth. Whereas on the other hand, when men are being retrenched, it affects their ego. It's like their whole world has come down, has crashed. So the next couple in the Bible is King David and Queen Michal. Michal was born a princess, raised by her father, King Saul. So she was trained to talk like a princess, walk like a princess, think like a princess. Everything around her life was to be a princess who will be a queen one day. But she fell in love with David. David was just a shepherd boy. They got married and they were happy. So one day, the queen saw King David dancing and acting in a manner that was not worthy of a king. And even though she loved him, she disrespected King David and she was rude to him because in her eyes, King David acted in a manner that was not worthy of a king.
Exactly. So essentially the lesson that we derive from David and Michal is that money status should not determine marriage status. They say that when money speaks, everybody pays attention. You know, when someone who has more money speaks, everybody smiles, everybody laughs at their jokes, and they have more weight than the poor person. But in marriage, money should not be the determining factor. Just because you come from a richer family, therefore you have more of a say. Just because you are bringing more income, you have more of a say. It does not work like that. There's an order that God has put together about how marriages are to work. God said that the husband is to be the head of the family. Just because your money status is higher than that of the partner does not qualify you to change the marriage status. So the money status does not determine the marriage status. The financial status should not determine the family status.
I think here we are learning that just because you are earning more money doesn't mean that you must dictate in the relationship. Honor the order that God has put in the family, because when you honor God, you'll never go wrong. Doesn't matter who brings the money. Maybe it's your assignment that God has given you to be the supporter of the family financially, and if you disrespect, then God can still take that responsibility that He has given unto you. Understanding your assignment in your marriage, understanding your purpose in your marriage, and understanding that you are there to fulfill. There's a higher purpose than the money that you're bringing. That what is your assignment in the family, and you become faithful to that without making the other partner feel less of a person. The next couple in the Bible that we're going to look at is Elisha's apprentice and his wife.
Yes, Elisha had an apprentice who died. His wife went to Elisha and said, "My husband, your servant, is dead, and now I'm having people whom we are owing threatening to do very horrible things to me and my family unless we pay them some money." Then Elisha was able to help the widow and her family gain some income, and they were able to get out of the debt that they had because of the husband who died, who was Elisha's apprentice.
The lesson here, friends, is that death is a reality, and we must plan for death. Sometimes both partners die at the same time. Sometimes the other partner leaves the other one behind. But all in all, death is a reality, and we must plan for it because it has financial implications. If we don't handle this issue well, it's going to affect the partner that we leave behind and our children. So it's very important that while we're still alive, breathing, we plan so that in case one of us leave or both of us leave, our children are able to continue with life. Think about the children and your partner that must continue having a normal life after you are gone. It is very important also to have a will as a family. Draft a will in case something happened to us, in case something happened to me, this is what I want to see happening, so that those who are left behind will not suffer. You see pain, you hear pain in the voice of the widow when he said, your servant loved God, but he left us in death. So we have to balance this thing. We love God, and we also think about the future of our children and our spouses after we are gone. Prepare for this, because all of us, one day we're going to leave earth. Nobody knows the day and the hour. Our death date is in the hands of the Father. So it's very important. And we are not saying, oh, if you write a will, then it means you're going to die. We're just saying prepare for it. We know that God has promised us a long life, 70 and above. If God gives you that, praise the Lord. That even if it's like that, prepare for your departure, so that your family will not get in trouble when you are no longer there. He loved God, but he left the family in pain of death. He prepared for life after death, but he did not prepare for his departure. What's going to happen when you leave? What about your family, your spouse, your children? So whether you are the wife and the husband, manage this well and think about it. The next couple is King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba.
The Queen of Sheba heard about Solomon's wisdom, and she traveled all the way from Africa to Israel, and she brought a lot of wealth to give to King Solomon, and to also test and make sure that Solomon was as wise as she had. She had a lot of tests, and after a while she concluded that Solomon was indeed so much wiser than it was told her. She was so impressed with what Solomon was doing, using his wisdom to make sure that the country becomes wealthy. Israel moves forward because of Solomon. She gave a lot of her wealth to Solomon, and Solomon reciprocated and gave her back as much wealth as the Queen of Sheba gave him.
King Solomon's wisdom made the country of Israel richer. He used his wisdom, his skills, his wealth to advance the entire country. Therefore, similarly in our families, we should use everything we have to advance our families. We should use our net worth, our network, our wisdom, skills to help the family to advance, grow our families.
And also, when you look at King Solomon and Queen of Sheba, they were competing in outgiving each other, in outsaving each other. So even in marriages, we need to compete in outsaving and outdoing good for one another. They were competing to give more. That one gave, this one gave. Let's do that. Let's save more. Let's do more for each other.
Serving one another is key to a successful marriage. We thrive together. We win together when we put each other as the first priority. The next couple that we're going to look at in the Bible is King Herod and Queen Herodias.
Yes, Herodias was married to Philip, the brother of King Herod, but she somehow was able to upgrade her husband and replaced Philip with King Herod. And indeed, here the lesson to learn is that men are not cell phones. They should not be upgraded.
Yeah.
You need to work with what you have. You need to improve yourself, improve your partner, develop yourself, develop your partner, so that you can jointly together achieve more and do more together. But you don't have to dump somebody so that you can advance to get to the next level.
That's very true. Even in Sepedi, they say, "Monna wa kipetlela." In other words, meaning that to have the man of your dreams, you must shape him. Don't look outside. Work on what God has given you. As a woman with God's wisdom, you can still have the husband that you want to see in that person, in that husband of yours, by working with God to make sure that he becomes all that God has created him to be. We don't dump, we don't upgrade, but we build. So work on building your spouse's confidence. Build them to become all that God has created them. Encourage them to fulfill their purpose in life. Support them. And the more you do the support, the building, the nourishment, instead of pulling, breaking, you will see God doing more in him. That tomorrow when he looks back, he will say, I'm glad that I married this woman, because she has made me come out, the best of me to come out and become all that God has created me to be. And same applies to the husband. You would do the same, of building, nourishing, supporting, encouraging.
Exactly. Focus on your strength. Focus on what you have. A bird in the hand is worth two in the forest. Work with what you have. Commit what you have to God, and God will cause you to prosper.
Amen. The next couple in the Bible is Lot and Lot's wife.
Amen, exactly. The story of Lot, it's the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. God was about to destroy the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, but Lot was staying there. So God sent his angels, and through his angels, they rescued Lot and Lot's family out of Sodom and Gomorrah. However, along the way, Lot's wife looked back at the city and she was turned into a pile of salt.
The lesson we are learning here is that God can take care of people. There was no way that Lot will know about the coming destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. God helped him. Most of the time we succeed because God is taking good care of us. We succeed because of God's grace and favor and blessing upon our lives. Because Lot could have lost everything, whatever he achieved, his money, his resources, everything that he had, even his life, he would have lost it. But because God was there for them, he was gracious, he was able to be saved. Our financial success comes from God because he cares and he loves us.
We also see Lot's wife turning back, looking back at the city of Sodom, which shows you that in a relationship you need to focus forward. You can't always be looking backward. You need to leave so you can cleave to your partner. Even financially, you need to leave the wealth of Sodom behind so that you can focus on the future that you will be building ahead. So sometimes you have families that are so dependent upon their parents. If there's no food at home, they are calling their parents. You should be leaving your parents and building your own financial future without being dependent upon them, without looking backwards all the time, like Lot's wife. So you need to leave so you can cleave. And sometimes also you find that you can't really fully build your family because 90% of your salary, when it comes in, it goes back where you are coming from, and therefore your immediate family now cannot move ahead because everything is going back where you are coming from. It's also not sustainable. You need to focus on what you are building, where you are going. Obviously, by all means, it's biblical to take care of your parents and to take care of other people, but it should not be at the expense of the other responsibilities that you have in your immediate household. So you need to focus on your immediate household. You need to also focus on your parents. You must not be like Lot's wife. You need to focus and get things done.
Yeah, in other words, you are simply saying that it is God who takes care of us, and whatever he gives us, we need to manage it well. Even if we support our parents, and we must also make sure that there is moving forward of life. We don't find ourselves stuck in one place. God is gracious. He can still give us grace to do more to those who are behind, to do whatever we can to those who are behind while we are building forward. The next couple that we are going to look at in the Bible is Joseph and Mary, the mother and the father of Jesus.
Exactly. Joseph and Mary are a dream couple.
Yeah.
Because they became one, but they shared everything. They were living together as a couple. Even when the wise men from the east brought gifts, you just see the unity that was there, the oneness. That is what is important in every marriage. Two people come together into a marriage, but the two need to become one. If they don't become one financially, then you have issues, you have fights, and you have divorce. But if the two become one, such that they synergize, so that they strengthen each other, so they achieve more together than alone. That is exactly what God intended for marriage to be, that when we are two, we can do more together. We can have kids, which alone none of us can have, which alone none of us can properly take care of them, but together we can take care of our assets, our possessions, and we can go much further together. Indeed, Joseph and Mary have left a legacy that is unquestionable, that will be there for years and years to come, because they came together and they supported each other and they were there for one another.
Yes, so couples that are united win all the time. They win. Everything must be transparent. Let's know what's happening in the family in case one of us go first, because your partner is the best person that will be able to take care of the family when you are gone. It's the first immediate person that must take care of your children. So trust each other enough, transparency, every policy in the open, and so that when something happens, people don't, you don't want to frustrate your family. They don't even know where to start, where to go. The next couple that we're going to look at in the Bible is King David and Queen Abigail. Queen Abigail was very beautiful, very intelligent, a spiritual giant, or a prophetess as we can call her, wealthy. She was more like a Proverbs 31 woman. She had it all. And there was a phase wherein David did not have anything, but Abigail took care of David. She had the money, resources. But as we know, in life, seasons change. One moment she took care of David. The next moment, David became king, ruler over the entire kingdom of Israel. And obviously, King David was able to take care of Abigail. That's the way life works. One day you are on top, you take care of the family. One day your partner is the one on top and they take care of the family. So life is like that. There are seasons, there are changes. It's a cycle of life. I have your back, you have my back. Just like one hand which washes the other hand. We take care of each other. We are family, just like David and Abigail. Yes, we do know that families are not the same and marriages are not the same. In some instances, the man is the main breadwinner, and in other instances, is the other way around. The woman is the breadwinner. Then if this is not managed well biblically, it can also cause problems and divorce. It's also about maturity in both the partners, understanding that whatever they have, it is God who is enabling them to support their families. Family differs, so this must also be managed well.
In many men's hearts, they want to be the main provider. But just because the man is not the main provider doesn't mean that he should be disrespected, he must not be listened to, etc. You still respect the man, he's still the head of the family, even though he may not be the main breadwinner.
Yeah, sometimes even when the woman is working, we just love being spoiled by our husbands. So, but we do understand that life happens. One can be retrenched or other way. Just the thought of saying, I understand what has happened in the family and I'm willing to do the best I know how to bring and support the family to the best of my ability. For most men, it goes a long way.
Yeah, in every man's inclination, most men, they want to be the provider. Sometimes that is not the case. Be careful of that and manage that in your relationship. And similarly, women want to be spoiled. but sometimes they become the ones who are bringing in most of the money. But even if that is the case, they still have that tendency of just wanting to be spoiled. It's important to balance that in a family, understand people's tendencies, and manage that however you manage it. So it's just an issue that is there.
We know that life happens. Sometimes things don't work out the way we want them to. We all go through summer, winter, spring, autumn of life and finances. And when you find yourself in a space where things are not working out for you, it's very important to manage that well and pick each other up instead of pulling each other down. So if now it's the husband who's working and the wife you are there to support, is the one who's the breadwinner, is bringing more money, support in helping to manage what God has given you. If tomorrow the husband loses a job and the wife is the one that is getting the money, or she's the breadwinner, it doesn't give you as a woman the right to disrespect your husband. It's time to support and build each other up, so that it's just a season, it will pass. So it must not make your relationship to suffer and also cause divorce. It's just to find God's way of dealing with it, manage it well, support each other, and build each other up. So the next couple in the Bible is Adam and Eve.
God created Adam and Eve, put them in a Garden of Eden, wherein they had all the resources. One day, Eve decided to listen to Satan. She was deceived, she was scammed. The consequences of her being scammed meant that both herself and Adam were kicked out of Eden. They lost their resources, they lost their wealth, they became poor. The great lesson there is, in every marriage relationship, if certain things happen to your partner, you cannot say, I was not involved. It's my partner's decision, my partner's consequences. No, it affects both. You are united, one unit. You reap the good, you reap the bad. It means that you have to take responsibility for what happens. So in marriage, you are as strong as the weakest partner. We need to make sure that we help each other to become financially literate, to know and understand how to manage money, how to guard against greed, and how to guard against scams. Be careful of financial illiteracy. Travel the journey together and upgrade one another and help each other, so that we can jointly be more successful in a marriage and also from a financial perspective. You need to improve your capacity, your capabilities, so that you can be less susceptible to scams. So if this is your capability, you can't do more than what your capabilities allow you. So your capability, your skill determine the potential. You are limited by your capability. You can't go beyond that. You need to increase your capability, your capacity.
Another lesson that we are picking up from Adam and Eve's life is that God's way is always perfect. God's way is the best way. You will never go wrong if you just follow God's instructions, even if they don't make sense or they look like they are not the best. It is always best to obey God. It is for your benefit. The Bible being at the center of every couple's relationship, that whatever challenges you come across, let the Bible be the standard of how you deal with issues, be it finances. Let the Bible be the standard, the ruler. And if the Bible commands me as a woman how to react in the situation that we find ourselves in, I must obey God, because obeying God, you'll never go wrong. If you keep the Bible the way we are holding it, any challenge that you face, you will never go wrong. The bonus couple is Ananias and Sapphira.
In any story, there must be the bad guys. Ananias and Sapphira are the Bonnie and Clyde in the Bible. The Thabo Bester and Dr. Magudumane couple.
These are the mafia couples.
And they also show us that crime does not pay.
Sometimes you look at other couples, you find that people are always saying these ones, they married each other because there's just something evil about them that makes them click, that makes them become one. A life that is worth living for is a life that you live in support of other people, in support of building other people. If God gives you wealth, use it for the glory of God. Don't keep it to yourself, because most of the time what we keep to ourselves, we end up losing it. You are in that marriage, you are in that relationship for a purpose and a reason. Then there is a higher purpose. There's a why God made you to be with your partner. Find that purpose and live up to it for the glory of God. Let your marriage glorify God, and whatever God has given you, use them for the glory of God.
There you have it, folks.
Follow us, subscribe, pray for us.
Thank you for tuning in.